And we're back. Hello, hello.
Yes. Hello. Before we hit record, we were talking ad nauseum about baby reindeer.
Baby reindeer.
And
Martha.
And how much I resonate with Martha.
Oh, no.
Sent from my phone.
I was really late to that, but definitely glad I watched it.
Well, yeah,
it's messed up for sure.
It's a little traumatizing, yeah.
Watch with caution. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, y'all, welcome back to the Heart of PHC podcast. Today, we are actually featuring Kirstin Bounds. She's been with us for 2 years as a training manager, and for over a decade now, she's actually been passionate about the Enneagram. So today, we're going to talk about that.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Kirstin.
Yes, queen. All right, so we're just going to dive right into it. Kirstin, can you give us a brief overview of what the Enneagram is and how it differs from other personality tools like the Myers-Briggs?
Yes, I would love to. So the Enneagram is a model of personality that consists of 9 different types. So all of them are just 1 through 9. They don't hold any numerical values, so they have traits that are, kind of core motivations, core desires, core fears that really make up this unique type. So what I think is really unique and kind of interesting about the Enneagram is that it is within itself a growth map for anybody who is, looking to kind of better themselves through this system and learning about themselves and learning about other people. So there are arrows and wings and lots of different layers to the Enneagram that unfortunately I don't have a ton of time to go into today. But I think that's the thing that has kind of kept me really passionate and enthusiastic about the Enneagram and wanting to share it with other people is that it is a growth tool and it holds a lot of wisdom within itself. So.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because immediately when I see numbers, I'm like, oh my God, values, right?
Yeah.
And the bigger the better, or number one's the better. And I'm glad that you mentioned that and the fact that you can grow, right? All around the clock. So, which is really important because I feel like everybody can be number one if they want to be number one. You know what I mean?
Now, is that right?
That's
can
perfect.
people change their type throughout life?
That's a great question. And I love that. I'm going to use that in trainings that I do. Everybody can be number one. Because you're right. It's no type is better than the other. The question about whether or not somebody can change type over time comes up a lot. And the answer to that is actually no. So you can become a better and more well-rounded and kind of a better integrated version of your type. And I find that the folks that have spent a lot of time doing work specifically using something like the Enneagram find that they do relate to a lot of other types besides just their own core type. So that comes up for sure. And it's a good sign if you can relate to other types because it kind of gives you that angle of empathy in relating to other people who think differently and act differently than you.
Cool.
Absolutely. That's good to know. So you can't actually change, but you can get better.
That's
so we
right.
can't all be number one. Got it.
And isn't that great news?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So, Kirstin, how can leaders leverage the Enneagram not only for self-awareness, but also for intentionally creating psychologically safe environments where all 9 types can thrive and feel seen?
Oh, I love this question because I think one of the biggest things that has really motivated me to bring the Enneagram to a place like PHC is the way that it can foster trust between teams. And I think leaders are in a much better place with a tool like the Enneagram to understand the people that they work with and vice versa, So I think, when it comes to especially like psychological safety and being able to name the things that you're bringing to the table and have some language for the behavior that you exhibit and what might hold you back and what are your strengths and where do you really thrive and what appeals to you and what's hard for you. Like all of those conversations are so much easier when you've got the right language for it. And I find that in my experience, like being able to talk to other leaders at PHC who know the Enneagram and say, like as a 9, I experience X, Y, and Z, that it's just so helpful. It feels kind of like having a shortcut to harder conversations.
I like that.
Yeah. Good
like
question.
that way of looking at it.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any types that tend to naturally step into leadership? And are there others that might be overlooked despite having strong leadership potential?
Ooh, okay. Yeah. So there's, a lot to this question. I would say, first of all, any type can be a great leader. It does not matter, which of the 9 types you are, you can thrive in leadership. And that's what's, again, so special about the Enneagram, is that it's not identifying things that any one type does better than the other necessarily, but just kind of what we naturally bring to things like leadership. So I would say no specific type is going to be a better leader just because of their type. However, there are probably types that are more naturally inclined to pursue leadership or naturally find themselves in those positions, whether they want them or not, just because of who they are showing up as or what they're kind of putting out there. I mean, in America specifically, we really celebrate and reward and promote extroversion and, people who are charismatic and know how to kind of navigate social dynamics. So I think, the type that comes to mind is Enneagram 3s that are really achievement oriented and goals oriented. And so a type like that is going to probably more statistically more often find themselves in leadership positions versus a type like 5 that Enneagram 5s are known for their introversion and their privacy and being men and women of few words. And so I think that's something to be mindful of for instance, like an Enneagram 5 who wants to pursue leadership, that might be something that they have to, overcome depending on the setting that they're in and the, work environment that they're in.
Absolutely.
Okay. Beautiful side. Kirstin, I'm wondering, have you ever seen teams misapply the Enneagram, and what are some common pitfalls to avoid when using it in a workplace context?
Yeah, so this is easy to do, right? Because when anybody's new to the Enneagram, I think I always caution them not to be too quick to assign traits to the people around them or to really like weaponize what they learn through the Enneagram. So I would say like my biggest piece of advice is just to be kind in how you present what you learn to your team or whoever it is that you're working with that you think is going to benefit from understanding the Enneagram and understanding themselves through the Enneagram. And so I would say, that's probably the thing that I've seen the most in terms of what can hold a team back from really benefiting from the wisdom that the Enneagram has to offer is, not allowing it to be the tool for growth that it is. And that, that's something that just kind of comes with understanding the system better and taking the time to really see, what each type does bring to the table. And so I think the better that you can understand the system, the less likely you are to misuse it, because it in and of itself is a really great model.
So would you say that's one of the main things that anybody using it should keep in mind, that there isn't one type that is better than the other?
Yeah.
There's just different start points.
Yeah, I love that way of thinking about it as a starting place. And I think that is exactly what the Enneagram does, is it illuminates where you're starting and where you have kind of historically been held back, or, what your tendencies have been over time that may or may not still work for you. And it encourages you to kind of evaluate what those habits have been and how that's impacting you, and then to be able to see a path forward that looks different. So you're going to be able to see, there's a type that is kind of laid out for me based on the way that the Enneagram looks. And I should have brought like a visual for our visual audience, but
We'll put it in here.
Yeah, we'll just right over our faces. Each of us just floating Enneagrams. But I think, that's what's so beautiful about the tool is that you can kind of go, oh, I've really put myself in this box and I can find a way out by better understanding what other options there are and what other traits I can start to lean into and what gifts I do naturally have that maybe I've suppressed and I just haven't really embraced and given myself permission to kind of put out there. So, yeah.
Well, Ms. Kirstin, what is a practical step a leader can take today to begin using the Enneagram and how they lead their team?
I love that question. I think, so anybody that's new to the Enneagram, I always encourage to reach out to somebody who knows it really well and can kind of guide, especially if they're going to bring it to their team, who can really guide them through understanding the tool better and finding their own types and things like that. So reach out to me. I'm a coach and a trainer and have been doing this for a little bit. So I am able to kind of provide that guidance. And so I always recommend that.
And if you work at PHC, she's the best price. Free.
Reach out to Kirstin.
Exactly. 1,000%. So yeah, anybody at PHC who wants to better understand the Enneagram, you've got a free resource at your disposal. So I encourage you to reach out to me. I also really love just, the idea of bringing it to your team as an idea before forcing it onto anybody because, and I say this as an Enneagram enthusiast and my own lived experience, but it's easy to think that everybody's going to latch onto this thing as much as you have and to really believe that everybody's going to want to grow at the same pace as you. And, you might have this really great vision for, how everybody is going to receive this and want to apply it to their lives. And you might find that that's just not the case. And so in order to really, if your goal is ultimately to have trust with your team and to maintain a really good relationship with everybody on your team, I would say ease into it, bring it up as a concept and just kind of gauge people's interests. And if you find that people feel ready to explore something like that, then reach out to your girl and I can kind of help with that.
I like that way of leading because you're getting that buy-in from the team. You're going to be so much more successful if you have everybody on board.
Absolutely. I think it's a much better and more fun conversation when everybody is naturally interested in this thing versus, oh, here's this personality tool that my manager is making me take a test and wanting to put me in this box. And so, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Rylee, as well, because I feel like when you're first seeing somebody into something, immediately their reaction is don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't want to learn a new thing.
I don't want to.
I've learned enough in my life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that, like you said, getting that buy-in from them and showing them, hey, there are some aspects that you might be interested in. So
yeah.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I would agree.
No, absolutely. So I'm curious, Kirstin, if somebody out there listening wants to go deeper into the Enneagram, especially as a leader,
yeah,
what are the resources out there, or what are the next steps that you would recommend?
Yeah, so I'll plug myself again shamelessly. I've been around the Enneagram for, like Rylee said earlier, about 10 years, and so I know a lot, and I'm twice certified, so I can definitely provide.
Not once, twice.
Not once, twice. Thank you. So I think I would encourage you to reach out to me. I also just beyond that love a website called the Enneagram Institute. So that's a really good just kind of resource that's free to everybody. The test I want to say that they offer is not free, but it's probably worth paying for if that's the route you want to take in discovering your type, is taking a test. I would recommend theirs. So it's called the Enneagram Institute, and I love it. The gentlemen that created that website are well respected within the Enneagram community and sought out for their work, and they have written also a really great book that I recommend called The Wisdom of the Enneagram that I've gifted multiple people and that I have gone back to.
Waiting on my copy.
It's in the mail. You didn't get it in the mail? Oops. Must have got lost. So I recommend them. They do a lot of really great workshops and things. So but their website has really detailed descriptions of each of the 9 types, and then they even have this really fun page on what certain types look like in relationship with each other. So not necessarily romantic, though you could look at it through that lens, but just Martha. But like, just kind of being able to see like, oh, okay, so like this pair is going to like have these strengths or these obstacles. So can be a really good resource if you're like, I've got this coworker and I know their type and I know mine, and we just have so much friction. Being able to kind of see it written, like, what your options are and what's common for those types, I think is really helpful. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go today, Kirstin, I want to know, how can leaders live out the I care values with the Enneagram?
Ooh, good question. I mean, understanding the Enneagram and applying it, especially if you're using it for the right reasons, bringing your team together to better understand each other, I would say like is the epitome of compassion. So when I think about the C and I care, like that is something that I think is a great tool for compassion is the Enneagram. I also think if we're talking about modeling excellence as an organization and growing and being a little bit better than we were yesterday, self-awareness is huge, right? And being able to understand like what it is that you are up against and what options you have to be a better leader and how that looks. The Enneagram does such a good job of mapping that out and making it clearer. So I think, as a leader, if you're trying to better model our I care values at PHC, the Enneagram is a great place to come to and to use as a resource. And once again, Kirstin Bounds, your training manager.
We love it.
Yes.
Reach out, everybody.
Yes. Well, Miss Kirstin, thank you so much for talking about the Enneagram today with us.
Yes.
And y'all, if you are listening right now, please check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us right now, check us out on Spotify and all the different podcast platforms. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time on the Heart of PHC podcast.
And don't forget that even with a little bit of work, you too can become number 1.
I can't.